Channel of Gradeup IAS. My name is Harshmeet Singh, and this is your next class in the ongoing series. I hope all of you are doing good. I wish that all of you are safe and are taking good care of yourself. As you know, from Monday to Friday at 7:30 p.m., we come here and discuss a very important topic from UPSC preparation point of view. The topic that we have taken today is the Panchsheel Agreement. The Panchsheel Agreement, as you know, is one of the most landmark agreements signed between India and China, on the basis of which our entire bilateral relationship stands. Good evening to all of you, those who have come in. I welcome you all to this session. If you are here watching this live on YouTube, I request you to do like the session. Make sure that you share it with your friends and make sure that you ask everyone else to come here. You can all please make sure that you also subscribe to the UPSC, the Gradeup IAS YouTube channel if you have not done so till now. Now, Panchsheel Agreement is an agreement which maybe most of you would have heard about. The Panchsheel Agreement is an agreement that was signed between India and China in 1954. It has five principles that both the sides agreed to. So, for example, the five principles were that both the sides will agree to peaceful coexistence, that both the sides will make sure that they don't interrupt in each other's territory, both the sides will respect each other's sovereignty, etc. These are the five principles. Now, in international relations, these five principles are very important. These are called five principles of peaceful coexistence. The other point that we have to understand is, even after signing this in 1954, we signed this. 1954 May, India and China signed this agreement. But even after signing this in 1954, India and China still went on a war in 1962, meaning that China, who started the war, was the one that actually broke this agreement. This agreement was about peaceful coexistence, that both the countries will respect each other's territory, both the countries will ensure that we understand each other's ideas. But China in 1962, when they started the war, they broke this agreement. On the other hand, China says that India is the one who started the problem. As you would know, China has always regarded Tibet as a Chinese territory. जो तिब्बत है, चाइना को लगता है कि उनकी टेरिटरी है. Now, when Chinese attacked Tibet, जब चाइना ने तिब्बत पे कब्जा किया, Dalai Lama had to run for his life, and India gave asylum to Dalai Lama. Dalai Lama को India ने अपने पास invite किया. We gave him asylum, and even today Dalai Lama lives in India's Dharmshala. China says that when we interrupted or when we allowed Dalai Lama to come to India, that is when India broke the Panchsheel Agreement. So China का version ये कहता है that India broke the Panchsheel Agreement because we allowed Dalai Lama to come here. We say that China is the one who broke the agreement because they were the ones who first attacked Tibet. This is what we will be discussing today. Good evening to all of you, those who have joined in. Hello Shruti, good evening. Good evening Kedarnath, good evening Krunal, good evening Apul, good evening to all of you. I hope all of you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button also, and let's begin. What do we have? As I said, Panchsheel, as the name suggests, are five principles of peaceful mutual coexistence signed by India and China in 1954. Now, usually what happens, usually क्या होता है, the two countries fight a war, and after the war ends, usually the two countries signed a peaceful agreement. After the war ends, then usually the countries come together. अच्छा चलो ठीक है, अब लड़ाई नहीं करेंगे. But in India and China's case, the interesting part was, in 1954 we did sign the peaceful agreement. We did sign the Panchsheel Agreement, under which we said that we will coexist peacefully. But the war happened after this agreement. यूजुअली आफ्टर द वॉर, जब वॉर खत्म हो जाती है तो दोनों साइड्स करती हैं चलो ठीक है आपसे नहीं लड़ेंगे. बट इन इंडिया चाइना's केस वी फर्स्ट signed the agreement, and after that the war was fought. Now, the history is long time back. So the Panchsheel Agreement was thought that we would cooperate with each other. There were said to be five principles that will ensure that the two sides respect each other. अभी इंडिया एंड चाइना की हिस्ट्री भी पुरानी है. India and China have a long history. So what happened when the World War II ended? World War II खत्म होने के बाद in China there was a communist revolution. There was a communist revolution. Communist revolution में क्या हुआ था? The Communist Party of China, led by Mao Zedong, they displaced their own government, nationalist party ही, they displaced their own government, they forced their government outside the country, they forced the government to go to Tibet, so they forced their government to go to Chinese Taipei, so that is also called Taiwan. Chinese government or the Communist Party of China started to control China. Western countries were very angry, US, UK, etc. All of them were very angry with the Communist Party. India was the first non-communist country. India was the first non-communist country to recognize the communist government of China. China की communist government को हमने ही recognize किया था सबसे पहले. When the other parts of the world, the Western countries, were not ready to accept the Chinese government, we were the ones who accepted it. So it again goes to show that India has always been the first one to give a helping hand to China. हमने हमेशा China से peaceful relation के लिए ही हमने try किया है. We have always been the one who try for peaceful relation. But it is China that has time and time again gone behind India's back. Be it the Doklam issue, be it the problem in Ladakh, all the times in history, the examples again are the same, that India is the one that has trusted China and China is the one that has broken our trust. These are the 5 principles of Panchsheel Agreement. Number 1, mutual respect for each other's territorial integrity and sovereignty. Number 2, mutual non-aggression. Number 3, mutual non-interference in each other's internal affairs. Number 4, equality and mutual benefit. And number 5, peaceful coexistence. Please, please, please remember these 5. These are very important for your mains examination. Mains में कभी भी question आएगा about India-China relations, always write that the two sides should come back to Panchsheel Agreement. Or whenever you have a question about India's good relationship with any of our neighbors, you can always write that India should follow the principles that are written in Panchsheel so that there can be peaceful coexistence in the entire region. So ये आप हमेशा लिख सकते हैं. Make sure that you take a screenshot out of this. These principles were signed from India's side. The Prime Minister was Jawaharlal Nehru. Chinese Premier at that time was Zhou Enlai. He was very close to Mao Zedong. These were the two principles. These were the two people who signed this. Just after a few days, there was an Asian Prime Ministers Conference in Sri Lanka, जहाँ पे Indian Prime Minister, Chinese Premier, all of them went to Sri Lanka और वहाँ पे announce किया गया. वहाँ पे announce किया गया that these two countries, India and China, have signed the agreement, and in that agreement, the two countries have decided that we will not fight, we will not have any issues. But again, China broke the agreement because they were the ones who first attacked Tibet. And after they attacked Tibet, they were the ones who first broke the agreement rather than blaming India. ये जो 5 principles थे, these 5 principles were again reiterated in the Asian African Conference. Asian African Conference में जो अभी एशिया और अफ्रीका में independent हुई थी countries, they had a conference which started the non-aligned movement. So non-aligned movement की जो starting थी, which happened at the Bandung conference in Indonesia, वहाँ पर भी even there these 5 principles were reiterated कि भाई we should follow this. Because it was for the betterment of every country, especially 1950s was a time, 1940s and 50s was a time after World War II. World War II के बाद many countries were becoming independent. Many Asian and African countries were becoming independent. Or when they were becoming, like India, Sri Lanka, when these countries were becoming independent, obviously there was a danger that these countries might not be able to sustain themselves क्योंकि सब लोग उनकी टेरिटरी आपस में लेना चाहेंगे. So to peacefully coexist, these kind of principles were important at that time. Indonesia में, in fact, similar 5 principles were first given in 1945. 1945 में, when Indonesia was still fighting for its independence, in June 1945, Sukarno, who was Indonesia's very famous leader, he also gave 5 principles called Panchkasila. Panchsila. So Panchsila were very similar to Panchsheel only, the Panchsheel agreement. So if you actually understand this, how did these 5 principles start? The starting of these 5 principles was in Indonesia. Before Indonesia became independent, their leader Sukarno came up with these 5 principles that we should follow these 5 to peacefully coexist in the entire world. And then these 5 principles were taken by other countries, including India. India में भी ये 5 principles को अपनाया गया. Now China, as I said, China ने हमेशा से बोला कि यार ये India is the one जो कि ये पंचशील agreement को नहीं ना मान रहा है. India and China first started having problem in an area called Aksai Chin. Abhi bhi, if you look at map of Jammu and Kashmir, there is a part of Jammu and Kashmir, or there is a part of Ladakh जो कि अभी China के कब्जे में है. That is called Aksai Chin. Aksai Chin was an area जहाँ पे China has been claiming that it is their area since 1953. 1954 में an agreement was signed and we thought कि भाई अब से जो अक्साई चिन का problem है and the problem in Arunachal Pradesh will not happen. Now do you know China calls Arunachal Pradesh as South Tibet. China जो है वो अरुणाचल प्रदेश को South Tibet बोलता है. China says that Arunachal Pradesh, that is our state, is a part of Tibet जो कि China की होनी चाहिए हमेशा. So that again is a problem that we have. So Arunachal Pradesh and Aksai Chin are two major regions where India and China have this territorial dispute, and China has not been able to follow or has not been able to resolve that dispute with India. Whenever we talk about resolving this dispute, they talk about something else, they just ignore that situation. Panchsheel agreement, as I said, began to break down when Dalai Lama and his followers were given asylum in India. Abhi bhi Dalai Lama lives in India's Dharamshala. Dalai Lama had to come to India because Chinese attacked Tibet. और तिब्बत में सीन क्या है कि in Tibet Dalai Lama is a leader or spiritual leader of Tibet. So whatever he says, if he announces that Tibet is a part of China, now the people will accept that. So it was very important for Tibet's independence that Dalai Lama remains safe. That is why all the people of Tibet, they thought that at least Dalai Lama should not be captured by the Chinese forces. So before the Chinese attacked, Dalai Lama basically in a very hidden way ran away from Tibet, entered India. Indian government under Jawaharlal Nehru allowed him to come here, and we said ki okay, we will protect you and we will give you a place in Dharamshala. China says that by allowing Dalai Lama, India has interfered in China's internal relations. So China says that India is the one that has broken the Panchsheel agreement, which obviously we think is not the case. According to us, China never took this agreement seriously. Dr. Bhim Rao Ambedkar, at that time, he was a Rajya Sabha member. I'll tell you the interesting part. The interesting part is, in 1952, when India had its first Lok Sabha elections, did you know Dr. B.R. Ambedkar lost the elections? So, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar lost the Lok Sabha election when the first Lok Sabha elections were happening in 1952. He was contesting from Bombay. It was Bombay at that time. And he was not a part of the Congress. Nehru was a big leader. Nehru went to Bombay, asked for votes for the Congress candidate. So B.R. Ambedkar actually lost the first election. So he was a Rajya Sabha member. He was not a Lok Sabha member. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who was a Rajya Sabha member, he gave a famous speech in which he said that according to him, China never took the agreement seriously. China invaded Tibet, so China was the one who actually broke the agreement and not India. India, however, did agree to this agreement, but if you see today, that agreement is not really valid between the two sides. The agreement talks about peaceful coexistence, but even with the agreement, China has attacked India multiple times. It started with the 1962 war where many soldiers lost their life, the Doklam Valley issue in 2014, the recent Ladakh incursions in 2020. All these incidents highlight the fact that China has never taken it up seriously. It has all made sure, it has all just uh, brought it to the fore that China has never taken this agreement seriously. Uh, Neha, I'm sure there are many books in the market that talk about China's delusions, and you don't have to wait for the future for this kind of a book. So, Panchsheel agreement, yes, it is on paper, but in reality, none of that agreement actually holds true. Now, previously, India has been proactive and has been aggressive in making sure that we don't lose out on any ground. Peace would be in both the countries' favor, but at the end of the day, peace cannot come on or by actually compromising our own security. So yes, India does want peace. India wants to make sure that we do not uh, take away or we do not give away any territory. But at the end of the day, that peaceful coexistence agreement is not working. Now, what are the relevant questions or what are relevant facts about Panchsheel agreement? First, who were the people who signed it? As I said, Jawaharlal Nehru from India's side, and there was a Chinese premier who signed it. That is Zhao Enlai. Announcement was made when Asian Prime Minister Conference was going on in Colombo, and that is when the announcement was made. The essence of Panchsheel agreement is peaceful coexistence and cooperation for mutual benefit. Again, more on paper, less on the ground. But this is what the Panchsheel agreement has talked about. It was signed by Jawaharlal Nehru from our side, Premier Zhao Enlai from their side, and it was also presented in the United Nations that many people would not know. India, Yugoslavia, and Sweden, these three countries together, presented this agreement at the United Nations General Assembly to tell the world that we have signed this agreement and the international body accepted this agreement as well. This brings us to the end of the class for today. Reminding you guys, we have started a new sale for just a few days for people sitting at home preparing for the IAS and PCS examinations. Use the code SAFE55 to get 55% off on Gradeup Super subscriptions. If you have Gradeup Super subscriptions or if you are planning to buy the Gradeup Super subscription, use this code just for a few days to make sure that you get the discounted price. The IAS course are over 500 live interactive classes, PDF notes of all the classes, mock tests, sectional tests, and lot more. You can join the 2023, 24, 22 foundation courses. You can take the Gradeup Super subscription for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or 2 years. Do apply the coupon code, that is SAFE55. By subscribing to Gradeup Super, you will get access to all the running and upcoming courses, structured study plans, expert faculties, best study material, and a lot more. These are the people who will be teaching you in the IAS course, different teachers for all the different subjects. I am Harshmeet Singh. I teach polity and governance. Most of these people have given their own IAS interview and have lots of teaching experience, as you can see on your screen. You're also on Telegram. Do download the Telegram app. Search for Gradeup IAS preparation. Join this channel. We update regular study material and short notes. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Have a good day ahead. I'll see you tomorrow same time at 7:30 on YouTube. Bye guys. Take care.